Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for news stories from YellowCat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video.
People who lost their jobs by going off on a customer. What is your story? I used to work for a popular pub chain here in the UK called Wetherspoons. I had been there 3 years, I had been promoted to team leader, I wasn't really too bothered about the job as a future, because it was only money to keep me through university, but money is money. Anyway, one day we get a customer in, an American who just stepped off the plane, and all his preconceptions are off. For those not familiar with Spoons, a few things. They do not do table service. You have to order food at the bar and pay before you get it. They'll bring it to the table and clear it away afterwards, but that's about it. Food is known for being cheap and cheerful. Most of it is microwave, but things that cannot be cooked in a microwave, like steak for example, is not high quality gourmet dining and they don't pretend it is. The customer is always right ethos does not exist there. They'll be polite to a point, but if you take the piss, you won't get good service, or any at all. I've rejected more people than I can remember. It's primarily a drinking establishment. Most people don't go there to eat, and most of the venues don't have a dedicated food-only area. Anyway, he comes in, has a seat, and waits for a waiter, who obviously doesn't come. Keep in mind, it's not unusual for people to come in and sit and wait for friends and whatnot. He comes storming up to the bar, claiming he's been waiting for a gosh darn half an hour. One of the bar staff, very confused, asks him, "What have you been waiting for?" with 100% sincerity. The man seemed to think the bar staff was being sarcastic and rude. He starts shouting. As TL, I stepped in, did the diplomatic, "What's going on? Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. Let me take your order, blah blah blah." He orders a steak. I can't remember what kind, but it was a steak. Now remember earlier when I said it wasn't gourmet food? Well, that extends to the steak. They offer 5 levels of cooking, but it's basically rare, medium, or burnt. He wants his blue, which they don't do for unknown reasons. It comes out medium. He's not happy. He brings his plate up to the bar and slams it down on the counter, red-faced and furious. I'm paraphrasing a bit here as it was a few years ago now, but the general gist of it went like this. Me. "Excuse me, sir, how can I help you?" Him, "You better hope you can because I'm gonna call your manager in, buddy." Me, "Well, hopefully I can. What is it that I can help you with?" Him, "This steak is burned." Me, "I'm very sorry, I'll order a replacement and give you a full refund, sir." Standard OP when dealing with food complaints of quality. Him, "Not good enough. I don't want another piece of crap like that, you hear me? Give me my gosh darn effing money." Me, "Excuse me, sir, there's no need to be rude. I've offered you a refund, I'm happy to do that for you, but you will not swear at me, sir." Him, "I'll swear all I want, kid. That trash you served up is not a gosh darn steak. I want a full refund plus gratuity, or you can kiss your job goodbye." Me, "That is a steak presented, sir. I'm sorry if it's not to your liking, but I've offered the resolution. Allow me to go get your money." Him, "Hurry up about it. And that was no darn steak." Me, "Then do you mind if I ask what you think it was then? Because it definitely wasn't a chicken." I was pissed off at this point and the guy was a dick. Him, "Give me my gosh darn money now and get me your effing manager, you little ass. Now. At this point he was reaching across the bar and pointing at me. I don't like people shouting at me and I hate people pointing at me. Me, "Actually, no, I won't get my manager, and I don't have to offer a refund, which is actually true. He can go to HQ and get it directly, but it's a myth to say staff have to give it there and then. I was happy to give you one, but you've pissed me off now, so take your coat and get the F out." Him, "You little S, I'll call the cops." Me, "Do it, they can take you out for me." This goes back and forth for a while, gathering quite a bit of attention from the other clientele. Manager walks up, man shouts at him, manager calms him down, man demands I get fired. I get pulled into disciplinary. Manager breaks the rule, and not an unwritten one, a legitimate company-mandated rule that says managers take our side. He says he has to let me go. I was fired, appealed, and owned him and that dickhead so hard in the tribunal. Got payment for the 4 months I had been without a job, plus a little extra for the hassle. My record of being sacked struck off my record and offered my job back, which I rejected. I didn't say this, but I saw it happen. Working at Burger King many years ago, I was working the drive-thru register, which was close enough to the front registers that I could hear conversations. One of my coworkers was taking an order from a lady who kept asking how much her total was, and then canceling food on it and changing her mind. I guess she was trying to keep it under a certain dollar amount. Well, at the Burger King I worked at, any canceled food on an order needed a manager's password, thanks to one a-hole who stole money by putting in somebody's order, telling them the total, and then canceling out that order and pocketing the money. So the manager had to come by 3 or 4 times at that point. This was during dinner time, mind you, so there was a line of customers out the door waiting to order. Finally, my coworker pulled out a pad of paper and a calculator. He started writing this woman's order down and totaling it by hand. The woman asked him why he was doing that, and he told her, when you make up your mind about what you want, then I'll put it in the register. This pissed off the lady, so she grabbed the notebook and tried to hit my coworker with it. He snatched it back from her and told her to get the F out. My manager was only going to write him up for it since the manager agreed that the lady absolutely deserved it, but my manager had to follow company policy. He already had 2 write-ups on file, so she had to fire him. It wasn't me, but I've been told about it. Some guy just passed his training for a call center a few days in. He answers the phone to a customer and they get into an argument. The argument goes on for nearly an hour, and when the customer hung up, the guy called him back to continue the argument. The guy was in his late 50s and lost his job very quickly after. Many a year ago, I worked at a home improvement store called Menards. I was a cart pusher, which was nice as I was outside all the time. Anyway, we gather about 25 to 30 shopping carts together and push them up to the entrance where they're stored inside. Now to get them there, we have to cross the main drive of the parking lot in front of the store. We always stop and let customers drive by. So as I push the carts up, I stop because I see a guy in a pretty nice SUV. He actually stopped in front of the entrance, so maybe he dropped somebody off. I don't know. So I'm waiting to see if he drives off, and then he looks at me and waves me across. Looks like he wanted to finish a call he had gotten or something. So I wave back and start pushing the carts across. I'm on the other side when some clips me across the shoulder blades, and it stung somewhat and pushed me forward. At the same time, I heard glass shatter. I turn around and the guy in the SUV clipped me with his side view mirror. It had swung closed and shattered the window in the door, and I'm just standing there wide-eyed. 2 seconds later, the guy gets out of his car swearing up a storm at me and how I'm a low-life piece of S and how I'm going to pay for a new window that I'm not going to get anywhere in life because I broke his window. Now, I'm the type of person that if I was the reason, I take the blame and fix the problem. But this guy hit me. I blew up on him for about 5 minutes before a manager finally had the guts to come over and pull me away. I didn't have to pay for the new window as it was on video, but I lost my job because we weren't supposed to yell and cuss at the customer. I didn't get fired, but I was written up and yelled at by management. It was the reason I quit a week later. I am in my early 40s. For fun, I took a part-time job at Legoland Discovery Center. I love Lego and love kids. It was a blast most of the time. However, at Legoland, employees build their name tags out of Lego bricks and attach minifigs. Kids who visit can trade minifigs with employees. The rule is that we have to trade it because it's fun for the kids. Great. The only problem is the center that I worked in didn't supply any good minifigs. We just built our own from the Build-A-Fig buckets. I worked in the photo and entertainment departments, and noticed that a lot of our guests would bring in their extra minifigs looking to trade, but were disappointed by the selection. So I began to buy tons of the mystery minifigs and had a large collection of my own at home. Each weekend I put a bunch in my pockets and put them on my name tag throughout the day so that I could trade. I loved having Ninjago or Simpsons or whatever. I wanted the kids to leave happy about their trading and feel like they got something special. Most weeks I spent about $75 or more on minifigs for trading. On May the 4th, I pulled out my personal Star Wars minifigs because I knew they would be getting a lot of Star Wars fans that day. I had Vader and my Stormtroopers, etc. This woman came in with a 3-year-old girl and insisted I give her my Stormtrooper. She didn't have anything to trade, but I smiled and gave it to her. Then the mom went and took a minifigs piece from the build tables and made her daughter trade with me for my Vader. I traded, but was irritated because I only trade one of my personal ones per kid. There were lots of employees to trade with. The mom just wanted her kid to have my nice ones. The lady goes on to another area and in comes a group of likely Star Wars fans. One of the girls had a Ninjago minifig in her hand that she had brought from home. She was looking for somebody to trade with and was headed over to my section. I put Admiral Akbar, a fairly rare one you can only get from the X-Wing fighter build set, on my tag along with Leia, excited thinking I'm going to make her day. In swoops the lady who demands that I trade all of my figures to her kid who has 3 minifig pieces. I politely refuse and suggest that she ask the employee a couple feet away, since she had previously traded twice already. She got very angry and began screaming at me because she had gone around the center and no one else had anything good. My manager came over and made me give her all of my minifigs, even the ones I still had in my pockets. I was written up for refusing to trade and not caring about the guest experience. I was so pissed because I cared very much about the guest experience. Not the pushy parent experience, but the experience of the kid who just loves Legos, and that's why I spent so much of my own money to make sure they left with something cool in their pockets. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for subscribing, the likes, and the comments. See you in the next video.